everyone, welcome to Mom Squad. I'm Maureen Kyle, and this is a show where we connect with parents, especially moms, and talk about the parenting topics that interest you. Today's topic is one I think every mom relates to. We all know what it's like that first year or two after baby. Clothes don't fit like they used to, and if we have the option, we're typically wearing athleisure or whatever is convenient. Then, when it's finally time to get dressed up, we wonder, is what I'm wearing still in style? Do I look all right? Well, one mom recently went viral for the day she thought she dressed up to go to the library, only to be criticized for her outfit choice. Take a look.
So I just got dress coded at our local library at baby story time, and this is literally what happened. So this is what I wore, a little cropped sweater situation. It's from like the teenager section at Target. It's that like weird Wild Fable brand, probably not age appropriate, whatever. These jeans, they're Topshop mom jeans, 1,000 years old. They're literally called like the mom jean. And this is what I wore. And I thought wearing a sweater is like a step up from my usual sweatshirt, t-shirt, leggings, jeans situation. So I was feeling good about myself. And she ruined that. So I'm chasing my kids around. They're acting wild. And I always get a little stressed out that they don't sit during story time. So after story time, this librarian comes up to me and she goes, "Are you mom or babysitter?" And I thought, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm young. So I go, "Oh, I'm mom, like not the babysitter." So she goes, "You should know better," in like this judgy tisk kind of tone. And so I immediately started apologizing for my girls' behavior. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. You know, it's really hard for them to sit still. Like, we're working on it. Like, that's kind of why we come here. And, whatever." And she goes, "No, your outfit." And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like what? Did I like not button my sweater up? Like what's happening? And she just like motions to it. And I realize it's because it's a little bit cropped. And when I carry my giant 1-year-old, it like raises up and shows maybe like 1 inch of my like mommy belly with its cute little stretched out belly button. And apparently that's inappropriate to show any midriff when you're like edging into 40. And newsflash, I guess I disagree.
As you can imagine, this resonated with a lot of moms. In fact, People magazine picked it up, along with the New York Post and other news outlets. We got in touch with Hillary Filipowicz, and she talked to me about what happened and how she feels now that the story went viral. Hillary, thank you so much for sharing your story. First, tell me about what happened at Storytime when you were there last week.
Yeah, so it was honestly such a quick, strange occurrence. I take my girls all the time. We go to a million different libraries all over the Cleveland area. They all have different play centers, different activities. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so finding free things to do, especially when Cleveland weather doesn't cooperate and you need to be inside, is few and far between. So we were just at, a story time. I'd actually gone to a library earlier in the day because I messed up the dates and time and they didn't have a story time. So we were really kind of flying by the seat of our pants to find what I had promised to my girls. So anyone with little ones knows how that goes. How dare you promise something? You must follow through. And we were just having a good time. My girls don't sit still during story times. They're up, they're running, they're dancing, they're running in different directions. They're 1 and 3. So I'm constantly chasing them and lifting them and lugging them around. And I joke it's like a sport to be doing so. And that day I had chosen to wear actually the same jeans I'm wearing right now. They're, high-waisted. They're literally called the mom jean, which I find very funny because I bought them in my 20s, the irony. And I was wearing a crop sweater and I was feeling really cute. Postpartum moms know getting dressed can be a little bit of a challenge. You never know what's going to fit, what size you are. And I was kind of like trying to look cute that particular day. I usually am in, leggings and a sweatshirt. I'm not proud to say. But lately I've been trying to like rediscover what my style is as a mom and what feels good. So lately this like high-waisted jeans with a crop, the bottom of the crop meets the top of the jeans, has been my jam. And so that's what I was wearing. And, I was chasing my girls around and lifting both of them, just trying to keep them organized and in one space, because I get worried that they're running in different directions away from me. And I wasn't thinking much about anything. I wasn't thinking about the way my body looked or the way my clothes were moving. You just don't really have time to think about that kind of stuff. But I did feel good in what I was wearing. I felt like it was a step up from my usual kind of mom uniform. And I received a comment, really just like kind of offhanded in passing, about how my outfit was not quite appropriate for the setting, or for maybe it was the fact that it was a children's event. I'm not really sure. And it was a really quick interaction, and I was just a little bit taken aback. And I've mentioned before, on my TikTok and responding to some comments, that I just really didn't say much. I, was keeping my eyes on my girls, and I felt a little embarrassed, and then I felt a little self-conscious, wondering, perhaps was it inappropriate, and kind of, running through a narrative in my head. And so I didn't respond. I didn't say anything. If I had, I probably would have stuttered an apology. I was starting to apologize for my girls running around, and then I realized that's not what the conversation was about. And by the time I realized that, the interaction was really over, and I had to go get my 1-year-old, who was like trying to climb something she shouldn't. And then, that's it.
And you don't know for sure that it was a librarian, but you were under the impression that this was someone who worked there who made these comments about your outfit. And it was in the tone in which she used?
Yes. So I have admittedly, you can see in some of the comments I've responded to, I just assumed it was a staff member, a librarian. So I offhanded said a librarian. And I truthfully, I have now been educated in the staffing structures of libraries. And perhaps it was, I've been told there's clerks, there's aides, there's subs, there's volunteers, there's other women who look like they might work at the library, and they're just passersby. So I'm totally owning that. And perhaps, it was just a person that in my mind read as, she works here. But yes, I didn't love the tone. I try super hard to not be judgmental. I think moms in particular get judged for like literally everything. Every choice you make along the path of parenthood, I feel like you're getting judged. So I think the tone definitely triggered me just a little bit, is part of the reason why I guess took to TikTok. Before all of this, I had like 100 followers. So I had no intention of there being a ton of eyeballs here. I really just texted some friends and my husband about it. But the tone was, a bit tisk tisk. And I like laugh now because I'm 38 and I don't remember the last time I felt like tisk tisk towards me. And especially because I'm pretty much a fly under the radar, kind soul. Like I'm trying to, instill calm, kind values in my girls, and like the value of positivity, and like having a little bit of a judgmental tisk tisk kind of tone is really what shocked me a little bit. I grew up in a uniform school and I never got in trouble, and like high school is the rebellious time. So it was kind of funny. Like I've never been chastised. And, an interesting piece of the interaction was asking if I was mom or the babysitter. And I said on my TikTok, like I was initially like, oh my goodness, she thinks I'm, a young babysitter, like what a treat. But I do think maybe the intention behind that was, if you're a babysitter, okay, like you're young, whatever. I mean, the things you see young girls running around today are probably the things I ran around in, and you're young. And maybe that would have been a level of forgiveness. I'm not quite sure. But when I did say like, oh, I'm mom, and I was like happy to say it. I had kids late in life. I'm like happy to be a mom. And that's when I felt like she did say like you should know better, and I felt like, well, I know better than to what, I'm not quite sure. And again, like I actually Googled like public places with dress codes because I was so concerned, like I was, offending in some way or breaking some rule. And I'm not, a riding rule breaker. I really am just like a mom trying to do fun things with my girls and set a good example. So I did have a few moments of self-doubt. Like I checked myself, is this inappropriate? Is it the hole in my ripped jeans? Frankly, they weren't this ripped when I first bought them. They're very old. So part of it's style, but part of it, they just get caught on like my kitchen cabinets when I'm walking by. And I couldn't quite figure it out. And then I did figure out, she kind of like motioned to my midsection. And I felt a little bit sad because, again, postpartum's so weird. You're going through all these changes, your skin stretches out and then it kind of goes back, but it's never quite the same. And so I think I had a little bit of an insecurity of like, maybe I shouldn't be wearing something where you can see my stretched out belly button that I've come to think is cute because it grew my 2 kids. And then I thought, well, maybe other people don't think it's cute. I don't know. It was strange. It was a strange interaction. And it was something that I posted not thinking too much about it. My TikTok's been just a silly little thing that I've been doing until now.
And Hillary, you weren't expecting this to go viral, but the story has really hit home with a lot of people. No. Are you surprised about the reaction?
No. No, and I'm a little overwhelmed and honestly, a little uncomfortable. I, think a lot about my little girls and like I want to make sure anything that's out there about that indirectly speaks to them or has their mother in it. Like every choice you make as a parent, you're indirectly impacting your children. No pressure. So no, I didn't. I was like really surprised, and then I did think a lot about, gosh, if I'm gonna be out there, I wish it had been like I wish it could be something that I feel really proud about, maybe not so much just this like random moment that happened that is now kind of getting spiraled in a few different directions as things that go viral do. And some of the directions I'm kind of like, eek, that wasn't my intention. So it's been an interesting experience, to say the least. I'm a pretty quiet, keep to myself type of person, so...
Hillary, this seems to be a lesson overall in empathy from the staff member who should have been more empathetic with you, but also you're asking for empathy and understanding from the people who are going online and making comments about the librarian.
Yes, absolutely. And I so appreciate you giving me a moment to speak to that because I talk a lot about empathy with my preschooler in particular. I think preschoolers just absorb so much more than we know, and it's such a cool age. So, for me, we are huge lovers of the library. We are frequent flyers. We'll drive up to an hour. Sometimes we go to 2 libraries in a day. Like we'll just, we're huge fans. So I think one thing that, this going viral kind of was an unexpected turn is people saying, libraries are supposed to be this, that, the other, and they are. This isn't something that should be like extrapolated to libraries or people that work at libraries. Like I think, I have never had a negative experience in my life. And I'm not looking to incite, moms in crop tops rally at the library. I don't think that's what this moment's about at all. I think, this could have happened at a park or a grocery store or, your kid's school. Like, I think more so than where it happened and the who of it, I really think it's about so many other things. And from like an empathy perspective, and something that's really been kind of weighing on me in the past couple of days is, if I was on the other end of this, how many times do we in a day say something that perhaps you're like, eek, I wish I could have taken that back, or that was just like a snappy moment I had or a snarky moment I had. Like, I know it happens to me all the time, especially as a stay-at-home mom. Like, you'll slip and say something that maybe I'm like, oops, that wasn't the way mom wanted to handle that with you girls. And you'll backpedal and you'll apologize. Like, I truly do that multiple times in a day, raising two little ones who are just, constant sources of chatter and energy. And I felt like I have not loved or felt super positive about the, report this and report that. My intention is never to have anyone like in trouble or to kind of exacerbate any type of negativity. Like I truly took to TikTok as a temperature check of this was so weird. Am I wrong? Is this okay? Like, I think I look okay. And I think it has ignited a different conversation and a bit of a teaching moment around, postpartum bodies and what does age appropriate mean. And I think those are all really cool conversations to have. And I'd really love if that was more of the focus. Because I feel like if I saw something and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me, I said that, I would just feel terrible. And that's kind of made me just feel a little bit, bummed in the last few days. I just would hope for more empathy. And I know social media is a crazy place where people say crazy things, but asking for empathy and kindness, I think, is so important. And I did post a couple follow-up videos where I did, kind of call for that. Everyone has their own things going on. You never know what is on someone's plate or what happened in their day. So I think it really is a two-way street in every interaction we have, even if it's in a parking lot. You just never know what anyone else is going through.
As you heard Hillary mention, she was actually not happy with the fact that so many comments were negative against the libraries. She asked us not to name the library system that she was attending because she doesn't want any backlash for them. We reached out to that library. A spokesperson says Hillary's outfit does not violate code of conduct. They went on to say they're sorry to hear about the incident. They strive for their staff to be kind. They want all customers to feel a sense of belonging at their branches. So that was the response that we got when we reached out. Joining me now is producer and my co-host for the day, Jenny Jordan. First of all, what did you think of Hillary's outfit?
I was like, wait, am I on the right video? I mean, you see the clickbait outfit. I'm like, oh, what did this mom wear?
Right.
I'm like, this? She's beautiful.
I know.
She looks awesome. She's way more dressed up than most people. I have seen people in pajamas. Mm-hmm. I have seen all sorts of things at the library. And you know what? It don't even bat an eye because all are welcome usually, and it's so, I was expecting something way more controversial. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I wonder how that,
right?
What they were thinking.
And I think that's what everybody was expecting, is you do see a lot of crazy outfits in the world. That's fine. Everybody be yourselves. But when it was a cardigan sweater and jeans and high-waisted jeans, that was deflating for her. I could see where it's like, well, wait, I wore this outfit and I thought I was looking good. And
she did. Yes. You did look good, Hillary. I mean, it looks so good. And I just think it's one of those things I don't understand. No one really has a right to comment on anybody's outfit, right? Unless we're building each other up. But especially in this case, it wasn't distracting to anybody. Mm-hmm. I just can't imagine. I was baffled when I watched it.
Well, and
I felt for her.
The other thing that I thought of too, when she was like, well, I put on these high-waisted jeans and then I put on this sweater. Right now, every sweater out there, pretty much, if you go to a store, most sweaters are cropped. That is the style now. I have bought cropped sweaters because I'm like, okay, well, if I wear a long sweater, am I out?
Right, what's in?
So you're buying what the store. I feel like I'm going back to the Devil Wears Prada scene where it's like all these people have picked our fashion choices for us, and so now everybody has decided cropped sweaters are in. Yeah, I've been there where I've lifted up my arms and then there's tummy showing or whatever. She's gorgeous. There's, I'm sure an inch of skin was totally fine.
Correct.
But it's also, I think, overall, this is a story about empathy. And that's what we just talked about is you might have judgment, or maybe some people might have judgment about how somebody looks or what they're doing, or even if it was about her kids' behavior. I mean, if they're violating some code in the library, if they're ripping pages out of books, that's different. But this is I mean, to comment on somebody's appearance when it's not violating a clear code.
Right.
This is a reminder of the empathy and kindness that we should be having in everyday interaction.
And we need to emulate for our children, right?
Yes.
And so I agree 1,000%. And, you know, I think every mom can relate to her is like, you're thinking, hey, I got out of my leggings and sweatshirt today. I'm going to be looking good, you know? And when you have a kid, there's so many things you're thinking about. You're thinking about, can I bend down in these jeans? Because I probably have to crawl on the floor with them.
Yeah.
You're thinking about every bathing suit my kids would, you know, grab, and I'm like, gotta make sure I gotta cover, you know? And so here she took all of that into consideration.
Yeah.
And so it's not just throwing on an outfit. She was thoughtful about her choice, and it just hurt even more that way.
Right.
You know?
And you know what's funny too, as I've talked to my mom, who I get the sense that might be the same generation as this person who was critical. Just a guess. You know, and I'm telling my mom, I talked to this other mom today. This is what happened. And she's like, what? Why is this news? She probably should have been, you know, and it's like, well, who's doing that? You know, it is a big deal. My mom was kind of like, this is not a big deal. No, it is not it's not front page news. People magazine, like we mentioned, picked it up. It is a very talker story because I think we've all had this incident in some way, shape, or form where somebody has said something that has been out of line. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking, gosh, I mean, especially on social media, but like to face, it happens face to face, but especially online. And so that was the other point of Hillary's discussion with me was, you know, then all these people go online and then they say like, let's rally against the libraries. And it's like, no, everybody just calm down. Like you shouldn't be saying something, that woman said it in person, but then, you know, it's this.
Right, but you want to share your story because other parents may have gotten, other moms may have been at that same place or at a different place and gotten it. So it's nice to know that you're not alone. But again, like you said, you have to really, she set the stage. She said, I love my library. I'm not, this isn't stopping me, you know, but it's just what happened to her and she's sharing her story. So, and you know, the libraries actually did reach back out to her and said they wanted to, no one was going to get in trouble, but they thought it could be a good teachable moment.
And it is.
So she's working with it. And I think that's wonderful, you know?
And I think that's why this story did go viral because it was such a it was something we can all relate to. Somebody has said something to us that, you know, you've been walking around, you didn't even know you were personally offending somebody by, you know, existing. They come at you with some sort of strange comment and you're like, what? Like, where? What?
Yeah.
You know, so everybody's been in her spot. I think that this got picked up because it was a library. And so that's supposed to be a place, I don't know. We even talked about it in our newsroom as we talked about this, like if it happened in a parking lot, you're putting your groceries away and somebody who's just a customer comes up and says something, I think that hits too in the same way.
Right.
I think the setting is different because, and I think that's why this went viral, because you're at story time at a library, you're with moms. Clearly these are moms, we've all been there. If you're a mom where you have had that moment of like, oh gosh, I got out of the yoga pants, you know, so there should be, I don't know. I think that those are the elements of why people picked up on this, if that makes sense.
Definitely, definitely. And I think it's just a good teachable moment for all of us.
Yeah. We have to be more empathetic.
Yes.
All right, well, let's fire up the Mom Squad Facebook page again. We want to know what you think. We're going to post some of this video. Connect with us on the Mom Squad with Maureen Kyle Facebook page. That's where we're going to post this story, other parenting topics that we come across. So make sure you check that out. I think we should fire up an Instagram page too. Jenny and I are going to talk about that after the show. Jenny, thanks for joining me. It's always great to get your perspective. Hillary, thank you for sharing your story. And thanks to all of you for joining us here on Mom Squad. We'll see you right back here next time.